Check, check, check one, check two.
But I saw something about the lady. So you had the guy on there that says he wrote it, right? The Matrix.
Yeah. His name is Tom Althouse.
So there's another lady, Sophia Stewart, who wrote Terminator, and she's the author of The Matrix, supposedly. I mean, you can Google it. Wikipedia says she is. She says that the Terminator is the prequel to The Matrix. Have you heard that one, Chad?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah.
You should get both them people on your show at the same time and let them duke it out.
Those two would never show up to be on the same show.
Well, of course not. You got to trick them. But I mean, you could. It would be funny. What was the reaction to that dude from I didn't read any of the comments, and honestly I didn't watch the whole thing anyway, but
I mean, honestly, it was across the board. You had the people that were staunchly opposed to thinking that he has anything to do with the Matrix. And then you have people that were very much for him, that were very sympathetic to his story, because he said that his children were taken out, his one child was taken out, and his career was pretty much ruined, and he lost all this money. So there were very few people in between. They either totally believed him or they totally disbelieved him. And I mean, for my own personal opinion, I don't know. He wrote some scenes. He said he wrote some scenes that were similar to the Matrix, but maybe the place where the scene took place was different, or the names were different. So I don't know. Does that constitute being the same movie? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. He didn't resonate with me. I kept looking at him like, this dude. I'm not trying to judge this dude. I don't know if he's legit or not legit, but it didn't seem to me like he. Oh, you're recording this now? Shit. Didn't seem to me like he was legit.
I mean, he's a screenwriter. He was an actor. He's on a crusade to win this lawsuit, but I don't think if he hasn't done anything all these years, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, if he's telling the truth, he's just gonna get done with. It ain't gonna be nothing's gonna happen.
But I guess the thing that gets me is like, so if those people had those ideas and those stories, wouldn't, in my opinion, you should be able to expound on it, especially now, right? If you wrote The Matrix or you're claiming that story, and then just this reality, like, to me, the current reality is crazier than The Matrix right now, like the actual reality we're living in, and the potential Matrix that we're creating. So if you have that creative mind, like, you should be able to take that in and weave in actual reality to the story based on just what you can Google in the news right now. I mean, if that's truly your brainchild, just expand on it and take it even further now that idea is more mainstream now, and people can relate to it more.
We're not going to need screenwriters anymore. We have Chat GPT. There you go. It wrote me a screenplay yesterday.
Yeah, I haven't. I wanted to log on to play with it, but I guess the server said it reached its capacity or whatever, so I wasn't able to get in there. But yeah, AI is coming in hot, man. And there's a I don't know if you've seen this. It's called Imagine Video. Google just came out with it, and it's a video generation, kind of like Dolly kind of deal, where you can text to imaging, text to image. But this is text to video, so you can type in. They had a couple examples where one of the examples was teddy bear running through New York City, and it created a video of a teddy bear running through New York City, and rendered it, and so shortly you'll be able to just type your movie scripts and the AI be able to create it, render it, and I mean it's going to change the game as far as graphics and effects shortly, I think.
Yeah, that is fascinating, because I know they have Midjourney, and Midjourney can create pictures, and there's other software that can create these pictures. You can say, I want to see a teddy bear on the moon, sipping a pina colada, looking out at the stars, and it will do that for you. And there are videos out there where there are people that show you how to master Midjourney, so you can come up with this incredible art. Because if you don't know how to use it properly, it'll come up with a picture, but it's not going to be great. But when you really know how to prompt it well, like similar to Chat GPT, you have to know the right commands to put in. It could create the most unbelievable looking art, and it can render different versions of it. So there really is no need to be an artist anymore. It's almost like being a DJ.
Who's gonna own that? Is that gonna be Google or whoever has that program owning it? Because once you say it, it doesn't mean you own it, right? You didn't create nothing.
No, I think if you create it, then it's yours. I think that's it. Just like with Chat GPT, if it right, well, I don't know, because Google might see all Chat GPT as being plagiarism.
Yeah.
But you can run it through another software that will make it unique. There's a software that I was looking into. It's called, I'd have to look it up. It's called Write Something. I can't think of the name right now, but you could. There's a number of different programs that you can run it through to make it unique. So you could take Chat GPT, whether it writes a story, screenplay, an article, and then you could put it through this other software application and make it unique. So Google won't see it as being like something that was plagiarized. And what about kids? I mean, they're going to be able to use all this. They won't have to write anymore. We won't need movie sets. I mean, everything is going to be AI, and not just that. But think about this: it's going to be so easy to create content to put on YouTube, because all you got to do is go to ChatGPT, ask it to write a script, take the script and put it with something MJ said, and then bam, it creates a video and you throw it out. You could do like 20 of those a day.
Yeah.
And then YouTube's going to be flooded with all of this content.
Right.
And it's not going to be very quality content. It's just going to be people that want to put out all these videos. And I don't know what YouTube is going to do, but the landscape of YouTube is going to change. And I think they're going to have to do something to stop this influx and flood of videos that are going to be of deteriorate, not very good quality, I think.
Yeah, my son thought doing math and grabbing a calculator was a hack. He's 7. He's trying to do math, and he goes, "Let me see your calculator. Let me see your phone. I'm gonna hack it to do the math." My wife's like, "That's not how you do this. You can use it, but yeah, them kids don't have to do nothing. Everything's already done for them."
Yeah. And I think that's dangerous. It's just my opinion. And I know there's no stopping it because of the convenience of it, but to not know why 3 times 7 is 21, you can type in 3 times 7 and get the answer, but the ability to problem solve, I think is going to be lost to a lot of things, and you're not going to be equipped to that when you come up to a situation that your cell phone's not going to be able to solve, like real life stuff, to where you're going to have to analyze the situation and look at your variables and make a decision, and it's not just going to be in front of your face. And then we're going to be looking to someone else to make those decisions. And what if those decisions that they're making are not in our best interest? I just don't like that path, the way it's going.
I think we already got that. To some extent, we already have that. I mean, we have these things getting shot up in the sky. I mean, did Elon or any of these private companies get authorization to be shooting up rockets and satellites in the sky? No, I don't think they got authorization. So you can shoot one up there from your country and be damned whatever happens to it. And didn't they try to put a bomb on the moon? It rang for like 10 hours or something. I mean, so who said that was okay?
Yeah.
Who said any of this is okay? Nobody's in charge.
If you got enough money, you can. With enough money, you can.
That's what Joe Rogan asked Elon about the tunnels he was digging in California for traffic through the earth, and Joe Rogan goes, "Is that safe? You're digging tunnels a mile, whatever?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, it's very, 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 very safe."
Safe.
And you know this how? Because you're doing it. Like after the fact, you're gonna say, "Oops." Like it's what we got.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because you can look at advertisement from back in the day where doctors would say smoking is safe. There's no issue with that. And these are doctors, these are authority figures. They're people that are supposed to know, right? So it's easy to just lose that critical thinking for yourself and just go to these authority figures and trust the science, quote unquote. And but these people can have agendas and have they may not have the best intent in mind as well.
Yeah, when I interviewed James True on my channel, he said, remember Ken, he said like 50% of all scientific studies change after 20 years. Yeah. And they can make a study show whatever they want, right?
Yeah.
Whatever bias they want. So that's why it's hard
to. They'll just highlight they'll highlight whatever they want, whatever they want to highlight. I mean, I don't know if anybody looked at those scientific studies for the VACCINE, but man, that it was like 0.07 difference in terms of that effect. 0.07. You
didn't do it, right?
No, I didn't do it. No, but I mean, I've done the research, and I wasn't going to do it anyway. But I mean, and it was published. The research is published, yet people they didn't even look at it. They didn't look at it twice.
Yeah, but that just shows the system, right? Because look at how much effort it would take for you to find that research. I mean, that isn't something you saw on the mainstream or something that was advertised. That was probably more shunned as conspiracy theory or whatever.
But you had to know how to read it, because I had to read the terminology like thoroughly to be like, what does relative risk mean? What is a relative risk? Oh, it's a formula. This divided by this. Okay, well then that relative risk is this. Well, that just means that the placebo in this thing was a difference of 0.07%. No thanks.
Right. Negative. But for you to even be for you to even have those thoughts to look at that, like how many people haven't even looked at that because someone on TV said it was safe and effective, and that's all they need.
That's all it needed to be. Well, and that's what, Mike, you don't know who this dude is probably, but if you look into him, he's been posting. He was on Chad's channel. His name is Howdy Mikowski, and he's been posting a lot about NPCs lately. And I mean, I love everything. All his dialogue is spot on. He's like, I don't know what it is because I don't like calling them non-player characters, but I don't have a better term for it. But he goes, they're missing some judgmental factor. There's a factor of judgment and discernment that some people just don't have. He said, can they get it? I don't know. I'm still working on it. But good stuff. And exactly, the discernment is not there. It's just something that's being missed by most of the mainstream people that are getting washed.
And I would argue that systematically that discernment is systematically engineered out of individuals to make them a quote unquote NPC. Not that
it very well could be. It very well could be.
I mean, if you just look at school and just the system, I mean, critical thinking and decision making and thinking for yourself. I mean, we're taught to look for authority figures, whether it's your teacher, your principal, your supervisor, manager, president, or whatever. Yeah. It's not about finding the answers for yourself. It's raising your hand and letting someone else tell you. I mean, we're taught that through the indoctrination process that we call school. So we're being funneled that way. And these people know the science behind it too. Like they're smart. Like these are smart people that just like these, companies that want to get us with more screen time. Like they know how the brain works and they do things on purpose to get us, addicted to this stuff.
Yeah, if you read these in your social studies class, you read about the history of America. But if you really want to know about the history of America, read The People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. That was mentioned in Good Will Hunting, by the way. And that'll give you the real history, which is quite different. So what we're being shown, what we're being told and taught in our schools is nothing that we really need. Billy Carson talked about that. We're not taught about finances. We're not taught about a lot of the things that we need for life. It's still some antiquated system from 100+ years ago. When I was a teacher, I mean, the classic books, like kids really didn't relate too much to those classic books, like Jane Eyre and everything. They want more modern stuff. I don't know what school what school is like now because I haven't been in the classroom for 23 years, but I'd love to walk in and just see what it's like.
Yeah, me too.
And see how kids, but you're right, MJ, because by not learning your multiplication tables and all that, I mean, critical thinking, your memory, it goes out the window. It's really funny because long ago, people had to memorize. David Icke said he spoke with Credo Mutwa, who was the head of, I forgot the name of the tribe in Africa, and he could recite the whole history of the tribe. I think it took him 3 days, constant talking. And so that's the type of information that people from yesteryear were carrying in their head. And today, there's no need to carry any information in your head because
digital.
You got it in your pocket. You got Google, pull it out. It's right there.
It's digital. It's been there's a process of recording history, and it's all being erased. And the victors or whoever has the history, whoever has the microphone, is the one that's dictating how that history has been told.
That's why I call it his story.
Yeah, history. Yeah. I don't know if you looked at all those things, Chad, that have disappeared throughout history, like the Library of Alexandria and the Library of Nalanda and the Tower of Babel story, and what those significant things that have happened across the world to destroy history, written history, I should say, not history, but the written history, and then just trying to piece that together. And it's no wonder we're all lost, running around.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Billy Carson talks a lot about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Is there any evidence? Well, I mean, a lot of people question it, but I don't know if they exist. They say it's just mythical. So,
yeah, I don't know, man. I've seen stuff lately, and usually when it comes into my head, I start seeing it being backed up. The observer effect in history. Are we really 7,000 years since the last reset? 6,000 years, or is it really like 200 years? How far could we have been tricked to thinking that this thing went? What can be proven? What's documented? All that stuff is coming out now.
Well, how old do you think the Earth really is? Is it really 4.3 billion years old?
If they can tell me how they found that out, I mean, it's not like looking into a tree and saying it's got 18,000 rings and therefore it's this amount of years old. There's no possible way they could tell something was more than 1,000 years old, let alone 1.5 billion or whatever they say that is. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, you've heard some Christians say, fundamentalist Christians say that the Earth might only be 6,000 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I think anything's possible. The simulation could have started at any time in the past, but I don't know. I think the Earth is probably somewhere between 100,000 and 300,000 years old. That would be my guess.
And you said simulation, so. And you and Ken are probably on the same page with this. So you feel this reality is. So let me ask you this. Two questions. Do you feel this is a simulation? And from a simulation standpoint, do you feel this is simulated on some type of computer or hardware?
Yeah, that's a good question. Probably, yeah. I mean, Tom Campbell says it's a digital information system. It is, I guess, binary. What's a digital information system? But is the LCS, the larger consciousness system, the thing that is simulating everything? Is that an actual computer? Tom Campbell calls it a consciousness, but he does say that consciousness is digital as well, and consciousness is the only thing that's real. So if consciousness is the only thing that's real and it's digital information, maybe we're just an advanced AI and something created that AI outside the system that we don't know of. These are all the things I speculate on my channel. They're fun to talk about, but I don't think we could ever truly know them.
You're never going to know. Yeah. There's nothing you'll be able to prove. You can't prove the chicken or the egg came first. You can't prove what came before God, who created God. I mean, these are all questions that we're just speculating on. And any narrative that says they can get to the end of that truth is just absurd.
But I think that's part of the fun of this whole podcast we're doing, because there's always two sides to it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and they're each side is so convincing that the Earth is flat, that the Earth is round, that JFK was killed by Oswald, a lone gunman. No, but he was the CIA, it was multiple gunmen. And you could look at both sides of so many different arguments and feel like they're both correct. And yet, how can that be? Like MJ and I were saying before, that the Earth has to be one shape, right? We don't think it could be subjective. It can't be whatever the viewer is looking at, just like any tree or rock or building. We all see it pretty much the same way because this is a shared reality. So it just boggles my mind that we still can't determine the true shape of the Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree, but my caveat to that is if it's a simulation, why couldn't any parameter exist? I mean, why would I have to look at the same exact thing that you're looking at physically if we know it's not physical? If everything is a wave and a particle, right? Energy, those fundamental facts that we're going by, and maybe they're not fundamental, maybe they're just convenient to tell the story. But if they're fundamental, then it could be both.
Yeah, but if this is a shared reality, a multiplayer simulation, then for it to really work, everybody would have to see somewhat of the same thing. Or else, like if everybody saw something different, we just couldn't, we could never agree on anything and nothing would work. But there are times when two people will see something different. For instance, that story of the Native Americans, like when the Europeans' ships came close to the shore, they couldn't see the ships because they had no basis, no foundation of ever seeing ships like that. So their minds couldn't see it. Right. And it was only after a time that they saw it. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, I could say yes. But for the most part, I think we're all looking at the same thing. And of course, colors can be a little bit different. But overall, I mean, phones, computers, nothing would be able to work if we all saw something different.
Well, I would agree that there's probably something fundamental. And that goes back to the question of how old is the Earth? I mean, my point of view is, it's likely that this was a physical only planet at one point in time, but it has been altered, hijacked, remade. It's been, we're tricked to believe something else. I mean, we don't really know what or how far back it goes. So in that aspect, do we really even know what we're looking at? I mean, because you can get tricked by a hologram or a neuro MK Ultra kind of thing, frequency going in that adjusts that. It could be altered. It could also be an upgraded system. When the system, if it's a system, and it upgrades, it could change what we're looking at. It could change the things that certain people are looking at. It's neurologically, it could be any of those things. My whole world got messed up with that cable box. When that cable box physically appeared out of absolutely nowhere, it changed all the rules in my reality.
What cable box are you talking about?
So I told you the story, but I'll tell it to you again real quick. So I was going out of town with my family. My friend asked me to drop this cable box that had extra channels on it. We'll just say that I got from China, and it came. It was a specific one. I didn't buy it over the at a Walmart or something. But it was a specific box. I programmed it. My friend said, "Let me, can I get it?" I bought it for him. I left it on my table in a Publix bag by the table. I walked out the door. It was the last thing that I did, clear as day. Got in the car. I drove away with my family. My friend calls me later that day and says, "Hey, I don't know where you put it, but it's not by the door." I said, "I put it right by the door." So then I started thinking maybe one of my son's friends might have grabbed it or whatever. So I'm going crazy. When I get back, I'm like, it's somewhere. I'm looking everywhere. Can't find it anywhere. 6 months later, the damn thing appears on my dryer. On my dryer, nothing on top of it. Nobody put it there. And I'm 100% convinced that it manifested or it appeared. And I don't know how it did it, but I took my phone. I sat my family down, my son down, my wife down. And I'm like, please, for the love of God, if I'm not crazy, please tell me y'all are messing with me. Somebody found that the thing that was lost. And I didn't give them any directions because I didn't know what was going on. I said, what was lost? What have I been looking for, for a long time? They said the little cable box thing. My son says, you found it? I said, don't fuck with me. Did you put it there? Did you find it? I didn't touch it. My wife, nope, didn't touch it. Like, I'm home all day today. I walk in the laundry room and there it's sitting on the damn dryer. Came out of nowhere. Nobody will ever be able to tell me. That'll be the first question that I ask God when I die. Did you do that? Because it appeared out of nowhere. So when those kind of things happen, like Mandela effects or physical matter is produced out of nothing. The Amazon box that came to me, same thing. Didn't even know what the hell that thing was. Showed up my house, had my name on it. $500 BioWave. Never even heard of a BioWave. And I started thinking maybe it's a parallel reality. Maybe I ordered it, showed up. Maybe I'm dead and I'm just imagining all of this. Like all these things are going through my mind for months and months and months. When those things happen to you, you're like, it changed all the rules. There's no rules. We can look at the moon and be looking at 2 different moons. There's no rules here.
Yeah, I see a full moon over your shoulder, and it was just a full moon a few days ago out here.
Yeah.
By the way, there's just to change it a little topic a little bit, but in terms of the moon, if you ever want to read a good book, Alien Agenda by Jim Marrs, he goes all into that. You were talking about before about how they exploded bombs on the moon, and talks about how the moon is probably hollow and all that stuff. It's interesting because he gives a lot of evidence for all that, but at the same time, if we're living in a flat Earth, there really is no structure as the moon. It's just a luminescent light. So again, you hear both sides of the coin. You got to make up your own mind.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah. Which is it's just interesting that we're still, and it makes sense that we're still. I would just be glad when we're able to at least figure out that. Like that would be cool to cross that one off. We're either on a ball or a flat plane, like to be able to say, we got that one checked off. Now what? What is the next thing?
But MJ, do you think ever in our lifetimes that we'll have 100% proof one way or the other? Or do you think we might live the rest of our lives? We go 40, 50 more years like this?
Possibly. But so one experiment that I feel would help is like I've seen the arguments on circumnavigation, just going east to west, right? So just take a plane and go south, right? And circumnavigate the globe that way, right? Then that would be a good experiment to shed some light on things.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because you can't, if you took on a flat Earth map, if you just kept going south, you would end up hitting one of the ice wall,
yeah.
like the Antarctic ice wall, and you just couldn't, you would, or if you were flying in a plane, you might be flying over unexplored lands. That's why nobody could go there.
The caveat to that is, how do you know where true south is? I mean, there's only one magnetic pull, and that's to the north. So a compass only works on a flat plane. I think somebody else said that recently that I heard, but I mean, there's a reason that these myths about seafarers and our ancestors or ancestors to this realm, to this earth, use the stars for, right? I mean, there's a reason for that. They probably figured out that the compass was useless when you can go east to west or circumnavigate the same thing on a flat plane or a globe the same exact way. It doesn't do you any good. So once you get to a certain level of that thing, you can go the opposite of north. I mean, but compass, we don't know how to navigate true south. When you get to the point where the compass points, when it's pointing behind you, all of a sudden it points in front of you. What does that? I mean, does that mean it's a globe? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think what MJ's saying is, like, if the compass points this way, you go the opposite direction, just keep going in that direction.
Sure. Yeah.
And eventually you're going to get to the Arctic ice wall. And if you keep going, in theory, you should be flying over just a continent, and then you come out the other side, it would be the Indian Ocean or whatever, the Pacific Ocean. And then you could circumnavigate the globe, but nobody has ever done that, right? Nobody's ever circumnavigated the globe.
I don't think so. I've seen a couple fake news bombs, or whatever you want to call them, disinformation campaigns. I saw one from a pilot that says, "Oh, I'm going to disprove flat Earth. Here's what we can do. You can hire my charter. I work for a company. I'd be happy to do it." blah blah blah. He says this whole thing, and then a year later, he just goes on the next thing, his next videos. Like nobody's followed up with that one, right? And then I seen Professor Dave talk about flight paths. And well, if it was really a flat Earth, what you do is you couldn't do this flight to Santiago to Melbourne, Australia, and look how far this is. There's no way, it's not possible. And then I go to book the flight, and the Google changes it from like 10 hours to like 24 hours. I went to book the flight and they changed it. I'm like this, and I videoed it, like the whole process. So like there's some deep fake stuff out there that you got to really get into to get to the other end of the equation.
Yeah, there's a lot of screwy stuff with the flight path where people had emergencies and they had to emergency land somewhere, and you look at it on the flat Earth map and it makes complete sense, but on a globe Earth map it makes no sense.
No sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and also why are there almost no flights in the southern hemisphere? The true reason is because you'd have to fly like 10 times longer than you'd have to fly if you were just flying in the supposedly northern hemisphere. So because if you look at the flat Earth map, the continents supposedly in the south are like really far away. They're much further away than the ones in the north in the middle. So there's the evidence is there. We should do a whole show on NASA conspiracies one time and get all these clips and bring them in and talk about them.
With air balloons, the air balloon conspiracy on if you stick a balloon up in the air and it goes up in the air, why the Earth's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour? Why does it keep spinning with the Earth? There's tons of those good ones. If a plane's flying 800 miles an hour and the Earth's spinning at 1,000, how's it not going backwards?
Well, it's supposed they're saying that the atmosphere is like part of the Earth. So when the atmosphere is like turning with the Earth, and so it brings everything with it. But I understand exactly what you're saying. That is an argument from the flat Earth side. Another topic that we could do some crazy conspiracy videos. There was one on jet planes not really
have the fuel.
You saw that, yeah.
Fuel. Yeah, where's the fuel? Where they hiding the fuel at? Yeah, for all these things.
Oh, did you ever see that video where it shows the plane and it shows that like there have to be like 16 of these huge like 18-wheel truckers? Do you ever see those 18-wheelers that have like the gas in them? They would literally have to be like I think like 16 on each wing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The plane would never get off the ground.
So now I've seen some of the graphics. I'm not too versed on it, but so what are they saying? Are they saying that the planes are running on something besides jet fuel, or like what is the premise?
There could be a very small amount of jet fuel that just gets
it off the ground.
It gets the jets going, but once the jets are going, they're not running on jet fuel anymore. I forgot. Before I say something that's wrong, I would need to watch the videos, do some research on it.
They're just saying it's a cover up as far as how much it costs to fly people is all the main idea of that, correct?
It's not just that. It's they're covering up the technology as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is some really advanced technology stuff. Mm-hmm. Like it's more like the planes are levitating. Once they get up in the air, they're more like levitating. And some people have seen them just stop in midair, even go backwards. Like there was some.
I've seen some of those lately too. I like those videos. There's a guy I watch that has all kinds of like crazy crap like that, and he narrates over them, and he's getting like 20,000 views in like 2 days or a day, like, and he just keeps throwing these videos out there. I'm like, this dude's just banking, just talking over crazy videos that he got off TikTok.
Yeah, but I mean, think of a 747. It must weigh. It's just tons, like what, hundreds of tons, and yet the jet fuel itself weighs probably a ton or more. And think about what the wings would do. The wings would be like with liquid in them like this. Like the whole thing doesn't make sense to me. So there's got to be some other way that they're getting off the ground. And I think they call it convection or something. That's why I want to look at the video again. But that's something to be explored because there's not a lot of videos talking about it.
No, not a lot at all. I was looking at doing it. I like the name for that kind of a channel instead of conspiracy, called Coincidence Theory, and just do a whole bunch of coincidences. Hey, we're not don't next the channel. We're just all we're saying is it's coincidence. I didn't say nothing about the other one.
But you know what it is, like when you bring this stuff up, all the stuff that we know and we talk about, if you talk to like an NPC type person, they're so closed off to it.
Just shut off. Yeah,
they just completely shut off. Like
walk away.
Like you don't even want to look at you don't even want to look at the data or the facts or
Nope.
anything I have to say. So
Yeah.
there's always going to be people like that in the
Comical.
comment section too.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. One of the things that'd be, and it probably never happened in to the degree I would like, but I would just like to just to see where we are technology wise. Like, I know they say the military is 40 years ahead, technology wise, but it's probably more than that, right? But just to see like what are we really capable of doing versus what's in the mainstream. I'll just be curious to see how, because I won't be surprised if there's already a breakaway society, a runaway society already, but just where are we really versus what we're taught and told.
And if the Earth is really bigger than what they say it is, and it could be, it could be a really giant globe, and they don't want to show us pictures, and that's possible too. I think definitely there's other societies out there that are far more advanced. Admiral Byrd's diary was one of them, but talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, like what you were saying, MJ, about the Earth being 40, about the secret military having technology 40 years in advance of what we know. That's what David Icke said in his book, I believe, The Biggest Secret, which I read 20 years ago. But when I had Billy Carson on my show, I asked him about that. He said
the hundreds.
Yeah, I think he said 200 years.
Yeah,
not 200 years,
which is crazy.
Which sounds incredible to me, because think about, even if what we see in the mainstream is really what's out there, 200 years from now, it's going to be night and day. It's forget about it. Look at the change in technologies over the last 5 years. So I do think that there are technologies. It's probably somewhere between 20 and 100 years, in my opinion.
So the NASA cover-up could I mean, if the moon is the moon, literally, they wouldn't be flying. If they had 200 years in advance stuff, they would have said, we're throwing that shit away. We ain't going to take no space shuttle up there. We're just going to teleport, or we're going to go through a portal. Why would they fly a plane up there? So that could be a potential, as far as why would they do that? They ain't taking a plane.
Well, that's another conspiracy, because the space shuttle is supposed to be a plane. It's not, it's not a glider. It actually has jet engines, and I've seen videos of that. But you're right. I mean, this is completely outdated technology, right? This space, whatever their capsule, what do they call it? The lunar module.
Lunar module, yeah.
It's lunacy to think that would make it to the moon, or the space shuttle.
And I think the biggest evidence that people have that we didn't land on the moon, or that wasn't legit, is that they say that the engine for the propulsion unit would have kicked up so much space dust. They're like, it didn't kick up nothing. Like, look at these guys walking on the moon. The dust is going everywhere. If you had a propulsion engine pushing off of that thing, you wouldn't see nothing but dust.
Well, you saw the clips of Buzz Aldrin saying that they didn't go to the moon. He told a little girl that. He also said it on Conan O'Brien.
He said it on Conan. Yep. I showed that to you, Mike. Didn't I show it to you when I was in Augusta?
Yeah.
One of the clips that I had, I think I showed it to you. We didn't go. Who went to the moon? You saw an image. You saw CGI or whatever he said.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's crazy. And nobody. And again, you're watching this at home, and these people that we won't call them NPCs. We'll just call them. They're not playing the same game that we are. You couldn't even convince them. So we went to the moon after they just saw that. So we went to the moon. He just said he didn't go to the moon. We went to the moon.
When you watch these celebrities, every once in a while they'll have a truth drop like that, and they want to make it seem like they're being funny or being mysterious, but they're actually telling the truth.
Right.
You ever see one where Jim Carrey comes out?
Yeah.
I think it was on.
He said, "You know what this is? You know what that is?
Yep.
Hey, you're in the group. You're in there."
And it's not like I don't think he wants to be part of it. I think they're just indoctrinated into it, and they're blackmailed into it. And I mean, anybody George Green's, it was either George Green or somebody else, that anybody who's famous basically is in the club. Like, you can't get to that level and have millions of dollars and that kind of fame without them having control of what you do and what you say. Like, you do their bidding at that point.
Yeah, it's a lot of Biggie and Tupac stuff about them trying to get out, start their own thing, and Michael Jackson, same thing, and Kanye's talking about the same thing. Well, they were trying to kill me anyway, So I don't know if they're gonna get out of there. What happened to Kanye?
and there's different facets of the Illuminati as well. Like there's because there's groups that actually think that they are the illuminated ones and um, that they're doing good, and that basically, if you subscribe to the NPCs, that they're creating a group to and they're just capitalizing off.
I heard the sheeps.
Yeah, off of the sheeps, but they don't necessarily feel that
they're evil.
That they're evil. Yeah.
I mean, it's all perspective. You can jump down whatever hole you want to jump down. It's completely your choice. For the people who are watching this stuff, I refuse to believe. I mean, I think it's possible, but I don't believe in evil. I believe in evil intention and jumping over that line for morality. But you can get consumed by that for sure. It's not worth it. There's no benefit in that.
So what you're saying is you believe that people can commit acts that
absolutely
that we perceive as evil, like
there's no entity
as evil.
There's no entity that's controlling them, making them do things. There's same way there's no magic sky daddy with a wand, like Billy Carson says, or there's also no horned devil up there, making you jump on your shoulder and making you commit murder. That's what I believe. Okay,
so you're more in the James True camp, that we really need to hold ourselves accountable for everything, and we're trying to lay off responsibility on the big boogeyman or whoever.
I would side with him. Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what his posture is on that, although he likes the word posture. But I don't believe it.
Yeah, he likes posture, calories. I know some other terms that are a little bit confusing to people. I'm going to be interviewing him tomorrow, and maybe I'll ask him something along those lines. But it's going to be pretty interesting. I'm going to have him and Howdy on at the same time. First time ever. I would love to have a guest on our show. Eventually we will.
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
I think anybody you ask would love to do it. They'd be like, sure, we're just going to shoot the shit. There's no interview. It's just a roundtable conversation. Let's go.
But just piggybacking on what you guys said, because I thought about this a lot with morality and evil, and I do agree with accountability. Definitely, like humans can definitely take more accountability of a lot of things. But if I look at it from a scientific standpoint, where does morality come into play? If you believe that we're made up of atoms, if you will, there's no such thing as a good atom or bad atom. So no matter how complex you make those structures to make a human body, the morality is not built into the system. Like there's good or bad built into the system.
I mean, I don't think the morality comes with the physical, but I think it comes with the consciousness.
Correct.
Yeah. It has to do with the action, and lack of a better term, entropy. You're not affecting other people through your free will, your actions. What you do shouldn't affect somebody else, negatively, even though it may be neutral or it could be potentially positive.
Yeah, but I think we're all affecting each other.
We are. I just don't think we want to have that. I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for is. We don't want to affect somebody's decisions or somebody's will that is not. I guess it's almost like the Illuminati or the deep state cabal thing. I got to tell you what I'm doing, and you got to agree with it. Otherwise, it's the law of the universe kind of thing.
Yeah, but I think it, like what you said, Chad. It boils down to consciousness in empathy, right? So physically, there's no such thing as good and bad, but we can do things that make other consciousness experience things that may be against their will or could be perceived as good and bad, right? So through this physical medium that we call reality or whatever we call it, right? But at the end of the day, it's really transferring experience from one consciousness to another. And if we aren't empathetic and realize that other consciousness is connected to the same thing that we are, or part of the same thing, and we think it's separate, then we can behave in a certain way that is not empathetic. We can, take advantage of something else when you don't feel it's part of you.
And just to be clear, I believe there's good and bad. I just don't think there's evil. I don't believe there's the the devilish spirit, possessing people, like like is another entity, I guess is the word. I mean, you have to have good and evil if you have boundaries of a civilization and of living. Then yeah, there's going to be good and evil. There'll be perspective too, but the murder, I don't think anybody would consider that good. I mean, I guess there's necessary evil, but and there's perspective, but no.
Yeah, it's like if you took out Hitler when he was a baby, from the perspective of the people at the time, they would think it's an act of atrocity. But
Right.
if you look at it 100 years later, you would think it's a really great thing to save a lot of people.
That's the Minority Report kind of movie, right? Where the intention. Well, he didn't commit the intention yet. He didn't get it yet. As soon as he gets it, he got to go.
Yeah, but there's still accountability of the people that followed or allowed and did the actions, right? I mean, Hitler didn't do all of that stuff by himself, right? So, I mean, there's accountability that needs to be taken by the people that did those things as well. I mean, how different would the world be if people just didn't acquiesce to what's going on and stopped it versus thinking someone else is going to do it or just going along or following orders, if you will.
But you're absolutely right on that, MJ. And if those German soldiers would have said, this is barbaric and this is inhumane, I'm not doing this against the Jews and all the other people they oppressed and took over, just going to lay down our arms and forget about Hitler, would be nothing. He's not
couldn't do that. Yeah.
All these like leaders, they're not the ones fighting. They're just the ones sitting, in their comfortable confines, just ordering people around. And it's just amazing to me. I don't know. Like, I always think, like, why didn't the Jews fight back? Like, so you can see the movie like Schindler's List. Like, they just lay down. They just, okay, I'm just going in the ditch and just be shot, and I'm done with it. Like, fight back, man. Like, do something. Like, you're gonna die anyway. You might as well just revolt.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. I would have revolted. I'm always revolting against the system anyway, but I'm never gonna just passively lay over and just let someone take advantage. Just like when I talked about, I put out a video over the summer talking about the Great Reset, and this Gideon, these videos came out from Guardians of
the Galaxy or something. Guardians of the I don't know, whatever.
Of the Looking Glass. I always say the same thing too. I say Guardian because that's the movie, but Guardians of the Looking Glass. And supposedly that there was this leak that there's going to be this takeover. Yeah, and everybody's going to have to fall into this social credit system, kind of similar to China. Man, I would completely revolt against that.
But you know that the guy you're going to be interviewing, John Nolan, he had I think his name is Frank. He had another guy on there, and they were all about it. They were all about talking about that, and that really turned me off to his channel too. I mean, I used to follow it a little bit, and I believe in the message of hope and those kind of things. And when it turns south like that, I'm like, nah, I'm good. No thanks, not buying this.
So you mean you didn't like the negativity that they were talking about? I mean,
I don't want to put words in his mouth as far as the channel, but what I remember was they were giving credence to it. That it was. They didn't say they thought it was a potential thing. I don't think. I think that they were kind of like backing it up, going, this is something that Frank has information, and he was asking Frank about it. And Frank, I believe, was like all about it, like all behind it. Yeah, it's my sources say it's legit, and my sources, and it's possible that that's not what was being said. Maybe I'm misremembering a little bit from that, but that was the thing that I got from it. Was they were kind of like, this is something going on. We want to bring it to you. It's a fight of good and evil. We've been trying to tell you it's good and evil. I'm just not with that.
Well, I mean,
go ahead, MJ.
I was just going to say there's not many examples that I can think of where there's been plans that have been put out like that have been stopped. Like a lot of the stuff we see, well, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, or they're planning this, and this is simulated, and it actually comes but it isn't stopped. So the whole social credit and all of this stuff, like, to me, that's very, very plausible. Like I don't see the majority of people stopping those things from coming. Like there'll be groups of people that will resist, but the majority will fall in line, just like they've fellow.
Well, it's coming in stages. I don't know if you got auto insurance right now, but all these companies are making you put this on your phone, monitor your driving, and you get hard acceleration and you get braking, and the next step they give you a discount, of course. They're all in cahoots. So if you say I don't want to do it, you'll pay a higher rate now, but eventually you're going to have to do it, and then they'll be monitoring your phone and exactly where you're going, and all that stuff's coming regardless.
Yeah, but that's only if you have a modern car, right? Like I have a 2006 Toyota Matrix. They can't monitor.
No, it's not in the car. It's attached to your phone now, Chad.
It's what?
It's on your phone. It's on your phone.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
It's linking to you. It's linking to your phone, and it knows when you move. There are ways that you can circumvent it. Like you can go into each trip and say I wasn't the driver or whatever. But either way is coming. It's still going to be a risk.
Yeah.
It knows. Google knows you're moving too. Google's giving you these things every month, tells you where you've been. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Everybody in our society presumes you have a phone. Like wherever you go, they're like, "Oh, just open the app up." And I'm like, I usually don't carry my phone with me.
Mm.
I usually take it with me. I take it on the go, but I leave it in my car. And if I go to the movies, I'm just going to tell you a story here. I went on a date with a girl. This was probably like a year and a half ago. And we actually went on one date before that. We went on a date. We went to dinner. It was fine. We said we'll go on a second date. So I didn't have her phone number. All I had was her, I messaged her on an app.
Mm.
So she says, after the second date, if it goes well, I'll give you my phone number. So normally what I do is like I said, I take my phone when I leave the house, but I leave it in the car. Now I'm not going to bring my phone into the movies, and I don't want to carry it in my pocket because you've heard that, you don't want radiation, and you've heard of like it can lower sperm count. There's actually scientific proof on that. And I'm in the movie. I don't really need to talk on my phone or text anyway. I'm in the movies. I'm on a date. So we watched the movie. After the movie, we're kind of over by her car. I walked her to her car and we're just talking. And she goes, "Okay, I'll give you my number." She's like, "Take out your phone and I'll give it to you." And I go, "Oh, I left my phone in the car, but I could memorize it." And she said, "Why would you leave your phone in the car?" And I was like, "Well, I'm in the movies." She's like, she couldn't comprehend.
It.
And I explained the reasons I just explained before. And she thought that there was something really fishy about it. She thought maybe I had a girlfriend. I was cheating on the girlfriend with my phone.
Oh, wow.
And she refused to give me her number. And that was it. I didn't get her number. And then we never talked again after that. Just for that presumption.
Hmm.
But what if you don't have what if you really don't have a phone and you're almost like shut out of society?
They're gonna start giving them things away, boy. They'll be like, "Here, take this," And again, the companies that are doing this for this particular example, I could have paid $1,000 more for the year to say screw the app, but it's coming regardless. Like there's nothing you can really do about it. They're gonna know where you're at.
What isn't there? There are phones that are very expensive. I think they're like 5 times the cost of cell phones, and you could talk amongst yourselves. Like remember the old?
Yeah. I've heard of it. Yep. Yeah, I can find that. My sister has one, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I think Alex Jones was selling them on his channel, but yeah, I forgot the name of the phone. Not
the Iridium one, is it? That's not it. Like a satellite phone, or is that something different?
Yeah. I think it's a satellite phone.
Okay.
I think that's what it's called, and they're very expensive, but you could circumvent. Like when you speak on your phone, supposedly, the government could all your texts, all your calls, they're documenting. But if you speak on the satellite phone, they can't monitor any of that, supposedly.
Yeah.
And that's why they're so expensive. But to carry around something bulky like that and put time on it and everything, it's just very inconvenient.
I was just going to say convenience is where they get us with a lot of things. It's more convenient to be plugged in, pretty much. And they purposefully make it inconvenient. Just think about it from a health standpoint. It's very convenient to eat unhealthy. It's inconvenient to eat healthy. It's inconvenient to do the things that prolong your life and things of that nature. So convenience is part of the game.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'm a pizza delivery driver in my spare time. Nothing easier than ordering a pizza, even on an app, and then I come and deliver it to you. Like, you don't have to do anything. Just
Mhm.
here's the junk food coming right to you.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you find anything out on that, Ken?
Nah, it's in. I got a new phone. I dropped my phone. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Giving Mike a bro hug. Goodbye the other day, and my phone flies out, and it just went straight down on the concrete and shattered a whole bunch of crap. So I had to go redo my phone, and it's a pain in the rear end. But yeah, it cost me $100. I was telling Mike another synchronicity is, I guess you can view it that way. Is I didn't sign up for the insurance, and this is the S22, like $1,200. Didn't sign up for the insurance. My phone breaks, and I find out I have the insurance, so I got another phone for $99, brand new. So
Yeah, I don't think I really ever spend more than about $50 on a phone. I'm not a big phone person. Just
Really?
enough to calls and texts and YouTube. That's all I need it for. I don't like to have banking details. Like when I go to the bank and they'll say, do you have our app and everything? But I just don't like having any personal details on my phone. If I ever lose it, I would feel really bad. So I got everything on my home desktop computer. I might be old school like that, but it works.
nice.
Yeah. I'm not the one to get like, I just upgraded my phone. The one before that, I had an iPhone 7 Plus. So like I tried. So I'm not the one that has to get the phone every. And one of the reasons I got this one is because of the camera, and I can shoot video with it and the cinematic stuff. But I'm with you on that. The other phone worked just fine, and I'm just not the one that's got to be up on the latest and greatest. I know people that just have to get the newest, and every iPhone is going to be the fastest and newest and greatest. Like it's part of the marketing. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's like consumerism to the max. It's like you always have to get the next greatest, latest version so they can get your money. But hey, I could tell Ken is getting tired, so we're coming up to the hour point. Maybe we should wrap up this show. But I just want to say, hey, thank you for everybody that tuned in all the way until the end. And we're going to be making many more of these type of podcasts. So if you enjoyed it, please subscribe. It would help out the channel. Give us a like. Helps out the algorithm. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. What can we improve? What can we do different? And it's been very enjoyable. Any last words from you gentlemen?
No,
I didn't know we were live.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Delete all the cursing that I did.
I can't do that. I'm going to have to leave them in, Ken.
It's on your channel, right? So it'll get hit.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you next video. Peace.
All righty. Peace, everybody.